I'm Dan High, multi-generational farm / ranch out of Twin Bridges area. And to expand our cattle operation, we look to increase our summer pasture to get our cattle away from our home irrigated pastures. And so we bought into this association, which was bought in 1967, established, and it was a series of about 20 different farms and ranches that went together, pooled up, and they bought this place and have done it, ran it. They're all similar operations, and currently there's only like 5 families that are running on this same piece of property. There was an island inside of our piece that we wanted to buy, so we made a run at trying to purchase that piece of property. This is it here, and so we use the conservation easement as a tool to purchase this piece of property.
So the Natural Resource Conservation Service, working with the ACEP-ALE, the Agricultural Conservation Easement Program, works with ranchers, farmers, irrigators to conserve their land perpetually. There are several land trusts around the state, but Nature Conservancy works primarily in the Big Hole Valley and the Beaverhead Valley to conserve large-scale ranching operations that provide additional benefit to sage grouse, pronghorn, and mule deer migration throughout the valley. The one we're on now is with the Big Hole Grazing Association, which covers pretty much everything from the mountains on both sides of the valley, which with this conservation easement and the others that they have acquired provides big game migration corridors between the 2 mountain valleys. Working through the ALE process in Montana, we have priority areas or big game migration corridors. And what that does is areas, especially in the Mountain West, where in the winter the elk and the pronghorn, the mule deer will migrate down to lower elevations. These easements are able to secure those corridors, those working ranches, to prevent the subdivisions from coming in and putting up houses and fencing that prevents that wildlife migration.
So we're standing kind of in the middle of the upper Big Hole Valley. It's a really unique valley in Montana because we're standing at about 7,000 feet elevation, but we're in a broad, relatively flat plain that is really has a strong agricultural history. It is surrounded by snow-capped mountains that deliver a lot of cold, clear water into this valley, and that supports not only robust grass and forage for livestock, but it also supports the last remaining refuge for adfluvial grayling in the lower 48. These kinds of lush, wet valleys that really are resilient to a warming climate are far and few between. So the stewards of the land are really a big piece of the equation. So we really see the work with groups like the Big Hole Grazing Association as a way to kind of honor and support their commitment to that stewardship legacy.
The help we got from NRCS in the process of completing the easement was mostly informing exactly what the easement is and what it isn't, and what it means to have an easement.
So the challenges with conservation easements in a lot of Montana and in the Mountain West is the perception that the government is going to come in and going to be telling them how to manage their operation. And the only real development right, the property right that NRCS is funding, is the acquisition of the development right, so it won't be subdivided. The day-to-day management really doesn't change on how these ranches are ran, how the farms are ran. That's between the land trusts and those landowners in developing the best management practices through their normal management.
The conservation easement has added to our sustainability of this ranch by moving towards a ranch that's less dependent on having perfect conditions for grazing. We're less dependent on the rainfall. We're a little more insulated from it, and that resiliency in the landscape has helped our resiliency and sustainability in our business.
The NRCS has been very helpful in our ability to develop grazing plans, fence off riparian areas, develop stock waters to sit there and distribute the cattle more efficiently in different areas and give us different options about how to graze. We've just kind of consulted with them and doing everything, on grazing plans to fencing problems, or we're actually looking at a project using vents so we don't have to put interior fences in, which would then be wildlife friendly, remove the interior fences and then just move the cattle with actually a computer and the electronic collars or ear tags and stuff.
It helps us better use our ranch here in the grazing, and also provides improved habitat for wildlife. So there's a mutually beneficial purpose there.
Really, it's the long game for us. We identify places that, again, have those biologic resources and have those ag communities that are committed to keeping the land intact and are good stewards. If everyone in the valley offered to work with us, we'd have to prioritize, and we would prioritize those properties that are adjacent to each other and that really hold those most important resources, whether that's Arctic grayling habitat or pronghorn migratory routes or sage-grouse nesting areas. Over the last 25 years, we've fortunately been able to work with enough landowners. We are beginning to piece together connected lands, one puzzle piece at a time.